So if I put the microphone on, those people at home will know that we're just about to start the meeting. Good evening, everybody. It's Cabinet meeting, and it's the 15th of October, according to the agenda. We don't have a particularly long meeting this evening, but we've got some really interesting things to talk about. So can we, in time-honoured fashion, I was going to take apologies, but before I do apologies, can I welcome our 151 officer and embarrass her? Suzanne, welcome to Huntingdonshire. It's really nice to have you here. I know you've hit the ground running, and you've been very busy in a very short time, but it's really nice to have you here at Cabinet tonight for the first time. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, have we got any apologies for absence?
No apologies.
Excellent, thank you. The minutes of the meeting from the 10th of September have already been circulated. Is there anything anybody wishes to raise? Can I take them as a true reflection of the meeting, and are you happy for me to sign them? Yep, okay. You'll have to say it louder next time, because the people at home will all think that you haven't said yes. Is that the only one I need to sign? Yeah. Perfect, thank you very much, Habs. Item 2 then is members' interest. Does any member have a declaration of a disposable pecuniary interest, a registrable or non-registrable interest for any item on the agenda? None at all. So I stumbled through my words and there's no declarations. Excellent. Okay. That moves us on then to the substantive item for this evening, which is Huntingdonshire's priority natural landscapes. And this is a report which I think is a dual-hander between my councillor colleagues, Councillor Simone Taylor and Councillor Tom Sanderson. Are you expecting to present this? No. It's always a good start to the evening. Do you want to put your microphone on?
If I may, Chair, I will do a short introduction. It'll be an overview, a quick summary, and it will basically really sort of like pull it all together. But obviously the report, there's a huge amount in there which has been done. So hopefully you've all read it.
Thank you very much, Councillor Taylor. In which case, then I'm going to hand across to you.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm pleased to present the Priority Landscape Report to Cabinet, which marks a significant step forward in our commitment to enhancing the natural environment in Huntingdonshire. As our district continues to grow, we want to make sure we're all well placed to take advantage of the opportunities to invest and enhance in our rich biodiversity. And this report provides a clear roadmap for achieving that balance. The landscapes identified in this report, such as the Great Fens, the Great Ouse Valley and the West Cambridgeshire Hundreds, are not the only areas of immense ecological importance. With those bits as well, we do also have 9 other areas within the report, plus the river corridors. So that's really quite important. As well as the ecological importance, but also they form the backbone of our nature recovery network. By formally recognising these areas, we are ensuring that future development is guided by the principles of biodiversity net gain, as outlined in the Environmental Act 2021. This approach will allow us to restore and enhance vital habitats, making space for wildlife while continuing to accommodate the needs of our growing population. To reassure everyone, this work is not designed to inhibit development or growth in our district, but to acknowledge the natural recovery network for Huntingdonshire document. This is quite a mouthful, some of these words, which was circulated as a supporting document as an evidence base to inform our contribution to the local nature recovery strategy and future planning policy, and that's where Councillor Sanderson comes in. This will assist us with making sure that the benefits of the biodiversity net gain legislation are kept in the district and focus on our most valuable natural landscapes. This work is aligned with our climate strategy as we strive to create a greener, more sustainable future for Huntingdonshire. These priority landscapes will help reduce carbon emissions, improve our air, water quality, and offer greater access to nature for our residents, all of which are essential to improving well-being and supporting long-term conservation. So I welcome all in Cabinet to support this report and recognise these priority landscapes, as they will play a key role in shaping a more resilient, nature-rich district for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Taylor. I think you and I need more coffee because we're both struggling with some of the long words this evening, which is most unusual for either of us. Cabinet, you have a report then before you, a very detailed report, which I hope you've obviously had time to read and digest, and you've had a fantastic summary of the importance of it. Have there any comments or questions that you'd like to raise at this point? Councillor Davenport-Ray.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. I think when Martin from the Wildlife Trust presented this to Overview and Scrutiny, he emphasized why we're doing this. If you look at nature across our country, how much we've lost in not very long time, that is why this is so important. In the document, there's a map and it has the colors with the different priority areas. This may look familiar, and I think that's because a lot of what the conclusions that have been drawn here are not necessarily brand new information. We knew these were the important places. And in fact, a lot of our current local plan and the knowledge that's behind our planning application process is based on maps like this that already exist. So this is about knowing where our priority places are in a specific document, all in one place, that leads into another process called the Local Nature Recovery Strategy, which is a county-wide project. So I'm really happy to vote in favor of us adopting this, because I think it means we come to that county level decision with a picture of what we want from the bottom up. Not all of our colleagues will be able to do that. And so I'm really happy to vote in favor of adopting it.
Thank you very much, Councillor Davenport-Ray. Would anybody else like to speak? No, it's a big document. Oh, Councillor Davenport-Ray, you may have a second go.
At scrutiny, there was a further recommendation that was added, and I'm wondering if we could hear more about that.
Thank you very much. Councillor Taylor's nodding.
Thank you. I was just going to be picking up on the overview scrutiny comments, because there were some good comments there and some that that I hadn't thought of. So I just want to pick up Councillor Olburn. The project was he was told that it was an evidence-based piece of work, and whilst discussions had been held with the local landowners during the evidence gathering process, this has not been open to public consultation at this stage. So the panel also advised that the study was not focused on access to identify spaces. If I add a little bit to that, the sites were of highest biodiversity value. That's how they were defined, as some of those designations like SSIs, local nature reserves, country wildlife sites, and ancient woodlands and traditional orchards. So they were kind of pinpointed already. So many of the spaces had public rights of way and assumed access, and it was noted that during adverse weather, some rights of way may be closed in order to protect the habitats and the environment of the location. I'll leave Councillor Hassell's remarks and proposals to the end. Councillor McAdam picked up about the knowledge of how many farmers were currently, this was a really good question, currently adopting a nature-friendly, because in the report it talks about friendly farming approaches, and how many were adopting this nature-friendly farming approach. And it was known that interest in adoption of the approach was increasing. And Martin at the Overview and Scrutiny said that he saw it as a generational shift in farmers, and a resulting change of approach and attitude. And it was anticipated that this would be a significant shift in support of that friendly farming over the next decade. So we've had some really, really good questions. So I really thank the Overview and Scrutiny for their questions. And obviously, if you've read the report, you will you will read them all, but I won't go through them all today. So if we just go back to Councillor Hazel's recommendation, and it was it was unanimous. The whole overview and scrutiny said that they would agree to the report and presentation also being presented to the local plan advisory group, LPAG. So if Cabinet are happy with that, officers see no problem with that whatsoever. So I'm happy to propose that to Cabinet.
I say, are you indicating because you're going to second that, or are you going to speak?
I'm going to second it and speak, if I'm allowed. Yeah, I would second that. I think it will be quite good for LPAG to see this document once we've adopted it, but also then the officers that are involved in the local plan review can explain how much of this that they already used in a lot of their site assessments. So it wasn't in this set document, but we have a few officers that know our landscape very well and our landscape characteristics. I'm thinking of Fran Schultz in particular. If she's there when the presentation from Martin's there, I think that will give them a lot of confidence in where we've gotten so far.
I'm going to take that recommendation because I've got a proposer and a seconder. Can we just vote on that recommendation specifically? Sorry, go on, Councillor Ferguson.
So I just want to say how grateful I am to see that we're recognising some of our rivers as well for their contribution to both nature and to our communities as well. So I think at this time of year, it's easy for us to focus on the troubles that they cause us because, you know, they're always flooding. Most of us live in flooding in river communities. Lots of them are often flooded. Lots of the comments are always that, you know, do the rivers flood because we're building on floodplains? But having walked the whole of the Ouse Valley Way, I'll just drop that in there as I always do. And like the area is overwhelmingly rural, yeah, which actually means agricultural more often than natural as well. But it's important that we recognise the roles that those rivers play in our communities today and historically. This is a really good recommendation, a good document. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Ferguson. Before I move to the recommendations overall, can I just come back to the one specifically from Councillor Hassel? So we've had a proposal and a seconder. Is Cabinet content that we share this with LPAG, which is the local plan advisory group? Can I just have a show of hands just so that we can ratify that? Thank you very much. Would anybody like to speak on it more broadly? Councillor Wakeford?
Thank you. I don't. I think this is very helpful, and Councillor Davenport-Ray threw light on, I think, the obvious question our residents might have looking at this, which is if it's not a formal planning document, how does it feed in? Our conversation has spoken to that. I was just going to raise a boringly technical point before we move to the vote, which is that we've got two executive portfolio holders listed on the agenda. Recommendation 4 talks about delegating to the executive portfolio holder in the singular. I'm just wondering whether we need to clarify which of them or pluralise that, just so that there's no issue with the delegations we take away. But I defer to advice from
you. I
your
can
side
see
of the
Councillor
table.
Sanderson moving his microphone. I think he might be about to volunteer himself, or Councillor Taylor.
Chair, I was going to volunteer Councillor Taylor. And I think it's very useful this goes to LPAG and I have a chance to assess that as well. But Councillor Taylor and the team really have done the bulk of the work here. And obviously, as we know, the planning team are extremely busy with the local plan at the moment. But I think the two have worked well together. But Councillor Taylor really is the one that's sort of helped bring this to the fore along with her officers. So happy to do that.
Thank you, Councillor Sanderson. Councillor Taylor, can I just clarify then that the recommendation for the portfolio holder should be you? Is that correct? Just so we can make sure that we add that to the minute.
Yeah, it makes sense too. So yeah, I'm happy to.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for asking that clarity, because it's one of those things that later we might just scratch our heads. So thank you for that. Councillor Davenport-Ray.
I just wanted to feedback on scrutiny providing us with an extra recommendation to think about. I think that's really helpful, and I would welcome that in future. Sometimes they will notice things that we don't, bring us ideas that we haven't thought of, and this is a good venue for us to listen to them and have a think about them. So I'm really happy to see that coming through.
Thank you. And if you'll indulge me from the chair, it also chimes beautifully with the report that's coming to council tomorrow, which looks at our corporate governance peer review and the desire to look at our cycle so that we can add better value through our pre-scrutiny process. So it speaks beautifully to that. And one of our challenges will be looking at the sequence of our meetings so that actually those recommendations can come, they can be considered, they can be mulled over, acted upon, so that by the time we bring them through to this part of the process, if there's anything extra that we would want to add or bring as additional recommendations, we would be in a good place. So thank you for that prompt. Would anybody else like to speak? Councillor Taylor?
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to put my thanks to Martin from the, I'll shorten it, Beds, Cams and Northants Wildlife Trust. So he's been really pinnacle in this, and he's done really well with the report. And obviously to Nick and Helen, who've also been very, very involved in it. Thank you.
Thank you. If there are no other speakers, then I think that takes us to the recommendations. You've got the recommendations before you on page, I'm just looking for a page number 14. Are you content to take them on block? Yeah? Okay, so I won't read them all at great length, but you've got a recognition and adoption of this paper, this report, an endorsement for using this document as an evidence base going forwards, the endorsement for using it to inform our response to the local nature recovery strategy, that wider strategy that we talked about, delegations in there to the assistant director and portfolio holder, and delegations to the corporate director. So if you're happy to accept those recommendations, please would you show now? Okay, thank you, that's unanimous. Thank you very much, Councillor Taylor, for your presentation, and also I'd like to echo thanks to officers that helped us prepare this document. I believe then that that might be one of our shortest cabinet meetings, because that brings us to the conclusion for this evening. And so that's a very short meeting. We normally have a much longer meeting, but I know that some of us have further conversations to have this evening. So at just after 7:15, good night to those who are online, and thank you for those in the room who